Good morning, guys. So let's go over some vocabulary. Area. Area is the number of unit squares that can fit into a shape. Area is measured in most square units. Most shapes have a formula for calculating their area. So we're going to be looking at rectangles for right now. So for rectangles, we're looking at area equals length times width, or like this one says right here, base times height. Scale. So we're looking at scale factors today. Scale is the amount by which distance in a scale drawing are reduced or enlarged. So we're going to be tying in unit rate to this. So let's wait and see what we find. Perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. So remember, for perimeter, we're adding. So we would do even for a rectangle. So here it shows a square. So we do, for a square, we do side plus side plus side plus side. For a rectangle, we can either do the same, side plus side plus side plus side, or you can do 2 times length plus 2 times width. So let's go ahead and look. What happens to the copy when it is created with a scale factor? What happens with greater than 1, less than 1, exactly 1? Okay, so here so very, very simple. So we're going to start by, we have a rectangle and we're already given our scale factor. So in your notes, make sure that you have this example written down. So our base is 9.25. So remember, whatever goes on top also goes on the bottom. Whatever goes on the side goes on the other side. So we know that our base, and since our scale factor is 1 for the very first one, that means we're starting with what we would normally have. So we have 9.25 and we have 4 as the height. So we know that for area, we would take 9.25 times 4. So 9.25 times 4 for my area, and that gives me 38 inches squared. And it's squared because when we talk about area, we always want to square our unit. Next, we know that for perimeter, we're going to take side plus side plus side. So we're going to take side plus side plus side plus side and see what that gives us. And it gives us 26.5 inches. So now let's go ahead and look at a scale factor of 2. So when we have a scale factor of 2, I'm basically going to take my original base and I'm going to multiply it by 2. So 9.25 times 2, and that gives me a new base of 18.5. And for my height, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take my original base and multiply it by 2, and it gives me 8. So now I have my new base and I have my new height. So that means I'm going to take my new base and I'm going to take my new height to find my area and my perimeter. So for scale factor of 2, I'm going to find the area by doing area equals 18.5 times 8. And that is going to give me an area of 148. So 148 inches squared. And I'm going to do the same thing with the perimeter. 18.5 plus 18.5 plus 8 plus 8. Now notice, the bigger the scale factor gets, the bigger my height and my base gets. So now my new perimeter is 53 inches. So now let's check out a scale factor of 3. So I'm going to change the color for this one. So scale factor of 3. So again, I'm going to take my original base and I'm going to multiply it by 3. So it gives me 27.75. And then 4 times 3 gives me 12. So I'm going to do the same thing for my area. I'm going to take 27.75 times 12 to get my new area. Notice again, we always come back to the original to find our new base and height. So my new area is 333 inches squared. And then for my perimeter, again, I'm adding 27.75 times, oops, not times, plus 27.75 plus 12 plus 12 and that gives me 79.5 inches. Okay, so now let's take a look at what happens when we have a scale factor that's a fraction. So right now I know that when my scale factor is a whole number bigger than 1 or greater than 1, my scale or my base and my height get bigger. Now I wonder what happens if my scale factor is now less than 1. Because remember, when it's a fraction, it's less than 1. So let's look at 1/2. So again, I'm going back my base and my height, and I'm going to multiply it by 1/2. So 9.25 times 1/2, and that gives me a new base of 4.625. And then 4 times 1/2 gives me 2. So my new base and my new height are now small. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to look for my area. So area is length times width. So 4.625 times 2 gives me 9.25. So my new area is 9.25. Now again, notice if I look at my original area and I compare it to this one with my fraction, my area is also smaller than my original area. So let's look at our perimeter. Perimeter is 4.625 plus 4.625 plus 2 plus 2. And that gives me 13.25. So my new perimeter is also smaller than the original. Now let's try one more. So let's go ahead and look at 1/3. So 1/3, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go with my original base. Remember, we always go back to the original. So 9.25 times 1/3 gives me about 3.08, and 4 times 1/3 gives me about 1.33. So I'm going to go ahead and do my area equals 3.08 times 1.33. And that gives me 4.11 inches squared. And I forgot to put it in the last one. And then my last perimeter is going to give me 3.08 plus 3.08 plus 1.33 plus 1.33 equals 8.82 inches. So that is what it looks like. Remember to always go back